a lot about mentality with the offensive line. How is their mentality going into this game, and how have you seen that progress since last year?
It's good. You know, obviously they have a chip on their shoulder. It's been a tough 2 years on that group. And I think, they obviously have a chip on their shoulder, especially the older guys that have been through it. So, their mentality's been really good. I've seen tremendous progress in that group from the time that we've got here till now. I'm proud of them. I think Coach Limegrover's doing a good job too.
James, biggest difference for you between the Wednesday before the first game 3 years ago and now?
Yeah, I mean, it's night and day. I mean, you just look at our roster, you look at the numbers, you look at the confidence of our team right now. You look at my understanding of Penn State, the community, all those things, the administration, how to get things done. It's night and day. I don't think you can put a value on things, in terms of trying to get things done around campus or in the community and knowing who to go to for certain things. So instead of making 5 calls or sending 5 emails, I'm going to call this person. If you have an academic issue, having a relationship with Linda and being able to call her or TK or whoever it may be, that stuff is really valuable. So I think those things have been really, really important. And I think, 3 years, now, 3 years to the day, it's dramatically different.
Is there anything that sticks out to you about that week 3 years ago, maybe leading up to the game, that when you look back on it, that's one thing that really sticks out in your mind about being here?
No, probably not. Probably not. I mean, stuff that you guys don't want to hear, but probably not. When I say that, you say, "No, we do want to hear."
Yeah, we want to hear it.
No, I'm trying to move forward, focus on the future and the present, not the past.
What have your impressions been of practice so far this week?
Really good. I thought yesterday's practice was excellent. I thought today's practice was really good. I think the coaches are doing a good job of kind of setting the tone in the meeting rooms before we come out here, so there's not any points where you have to stop practice and call them all up and give them the rah-rah speech. They're coming out ready to practice. And I think our leadership has been excellent, and I think I keep saying it over and over, but the numbers help. The numbers help being able to sustain practice for 2 hours at the level you need to get the right amount of reps and the right amount of training, for practice.
I know in the spring you guys kind of had the extra time at the end because of the pace, the tempo of the offense. Is that still the case now, or have you kind of readjusted what to do with those extra minutes?
Say that again?
Have you readjusted what to do with those extra minutes? I know in the spring you guys would finish faster because of the tempo of Joe's offense, and you were spring ball trying to figure out what to do with that extra time. Is it still?
Yeah, no, all those things are kind of factored in now. In the spring we didn't know how many plays we were going to be able to get done in a period. We kind of have all those things factored in, so we're using all the time out at practice now and have it calculated, that we're in great shape there. Typically we may have a minute or so, or a minute and 20 seconds or so at the end of a period, and there's typically 1 or 2 plays where you didn't run the way you wanted to, so you'll go back through it and double it up and walk through it or whatever it may be. But all those things, the spring going through it the first time we weren't sure, but at this point now we got a pretty good idea of how to plan practice even with the tempo.
James, a lot of fans are excited about the new offense. How much are you looking forward to seeing this unit going up against a different opponent, full speed, that sort of thing?
I am, but again, I've said it before, I'm as excited about the special teams as I am about the offense. I think there's things that we're really excited about the offense. I'm excited to see our defense play and what Coach Price, kind of got in store. I'm excited to see some of the new players that haven't been able to maybe have as big of an impact in the past. But really, special teams is an area I'm as excited as any side of the ball. Offensively, obviously, as well. Trace McSorley getting an opportunity, some new offensive linemen. The receivers have been dramatic. We were talking about that on the field today. Just the improvement from 3 years ago to now with our wide receiver group has been dramatic.
James, what message gets sent from the coaching staff, from the team's leadership to make sure that all the focus is on the opener, not on week 2 with all the hype that'll come next week?
By not answering this question. Yeah. Not talking about week 2 as much as I get asked all summer. Take my daughters to the mall and someone asked me a question about it. Downtown at today's quarterback club luncheon, which we're going to have a quarterback club luncheon next week, and they can't wait. So by focusing on the game that we have now.
You said on Tuesday that every season, universally college football teams send special teams coaches, etc., out to consult, bring people in, etc. What specific things did you guys do this offseason in that regard?
Yeah, just like you mentioned, I mean, offensively, we really didn't do as much of that this year because we were just trying to get Joe's system down. Defensively, kind of the same thing, getting Tim, Tim caught up with what we're doing, and Brett kind of making sure everybody's on the same page with how we're going to do things, the slight tweaks. And then special teams, obviously not losing any staff or making any changes there. We were able to go. There's a college clinic that we go to every year. We went to that again. There's an NFL clinic that we go to every year that we went to again. And then we've had some guys that we've been watching film with and spending some time with over the last 3 years that we've met with again. So just really kind of consistent with what we've done the last 2 years.
We saw you in the past kind of run up with the kickers, squirt water bottles, all that. With Blake Gillikin being your punter, what can you kind of do to get him ready? Because I know last year it was kind of, you'd see guys do one thing in practice, but it was different in games.
Yeah, we do that typically when you have an older veteran kicker and their confidence is high and you're trying to create some stress on them. Right now, with Blake, you just want him to kind of get into his routine. But obviously going into the stadium multiple times for him was important, as well as other guys on our team. Blaring music, obviously you always think about, music with the offense, but it also affects special teams, the cadence on punt and all those types of things, communicating who they have. So it was amazing. The first day we introduced music or crowd noise on the punt team, it had an effect. So just all those types of things, just try to get them as ready for the game as possible.
Hey James, on offense, game planning and play calling, can you compare and contrast last year versus what you anticipate this year as far as your role?
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly how it's been my 5 years as being a head coach. I sit in a majority of the offensive meetings. I do sit in some of the defensive meetings. There's a discussion as a staff about what we want to do in every situation and every down and distance. There's feedback, there's concerns. Really no different than what we've done the last 5 years that I've been a head coach. That's really how it's been. I've probably called 4 to 6 plays in 5 years as a head coach. So it's consistent with that. I'll sit in the meetings, make suggestions, have discussions, have dialogue. I think right now the offensive staff has done a really good job of getting a feel for Joe. So it's Joe. It's not what you would think really anywhere in the country where the coordinator is sitting in there and he's telling everybody what to do. You do that in the spring when you're installing it for the first time. But by this point, it's a discussion. It's a healthy discussion on plays that Coach Gaddis may like in the red zone in the passing game, or Coach Ronnie likes on third down, or what Coach Moorhead has, what Coach Limegrover has concerns about protection or about the running game. And it's a healthy discussion. Coach Huff is the guy that kind of bounces back and forth because he'll miss probably 25% of the offensive meetings because he's getting organized for special teams. So that's really how it's been everywhere I've been, the NFL, college. It's not one voice. It's one guy kind of directing and organizing, but it's a collection of voices and input.
What goes through your mind the night before a season opener?
To be honest with you, I'm pretty good night before a game, and I'm pretty good the morning of. I sleep pretty good. I know some people don't. My wife makes fun of me because typically most nights, like, we'll be in the middle of a conversation and I'm out. Like, I don't remember getting in bed. That's like how I sleep. Same thing with my daughters. I go in and kiss my daughters every single night. Shola, I kiss her, she wakes up, tells me she loves me. Addie, I could shake her and she's out. So I guess everybody's just different. But I sleep real well the night before games because our thing is prepare like crazy Sunday through Friday. And if you're nervous Friday night or Saturday morning, it's too late by that point. You should have been nervous all week long covering all the things you need to get covered. So, by Friday, we feel prepared, and I'm exhausted just because of the week that we've had.
There's been some talk, James, over the last 2 weeks of Saquon potentially returning kicks for you guys. But Nick Scott looked like he might be onto something back there last year before you needed him to fill in when Saquon got hurt. Would you agree with that? And how has he looked in that role if he's done that for you this summer?
Yeah, I think Nick Scott has done a good job. I think Koa Farmer's done a nice job. We have multiple guys that we think can do that. The hard part is if Nick is not returning the kick, we probably could use him somewhere else on kickoff return. Koa Farmer, if we're not using Koa as the returner, we could use him somewhere else on the kickoff return. Brandon Polk's more of a body type that probably can be a returner only. But yeah, I think those guys definitely bring value and do some nice things. But I think we would all agree the ball in Saquon Barkley's hands is special. So if there's more opportunities to get the ball in his hands, why wouldn't you consider it?
In terms of leadership on defense,
I can't hear you.
In terms of leadership on defense, how do you think Naeem's presence has been helpful this week going forward as well?
Yeah, really good. Naeem's been one of our better leaders, since I've been here. He's a natural leader. He's got tremendous instincts. He's got a really, really good football IQ. Losing him last year was significant. Losing your Mike linebacker is like losing your quarterback. It's significant, especially, we're at a different point now at most positions where we have a little bit more depth. Last year and the year before, we had even less depth. So losing a guy like that is significant.